Good afternoon, and welcome to another Jumpstart Monthly Expert-led webinar, today with Dave Lupyan from Lupyan and Associates on the low-hanging fruit of expanding into related markets. I'm Lauren Smith-Petta, and I serve as Jumpstart's Director of Education. Jumpstart offers this webinar series on a different topic every month, along with a variety of other educational programs and events. Visit our website to explore some of our other educational opportunities for small businesses and tech companies. Before I introduce our presenter today, a few housekeeping items. This presentation session will be about 60 minutes, maybe a little less, with time set aside for Q&A. In your toolbar, you should be able to see an important communication tool at your disposal today, the chat. Dave may ask you to participate throughout, so please place your comments there. You're also welcome to introduce yourself at any time in the chat so he knows who's in the room. You can also see the Q&A, which is a great place to put your questions as they occur to you. At the end of today's session and in a follow-up email, you'll receive a brief survey. We appreciate your feedback. It allows us to continue to bring in experts and entrepreneurs to teach valuable lessons. Okay, I understand there's a little bit of an echo. I apologize. Hopefully that's just me and you'll hear Dave just fine. All right, without further ado, allow me to introduce him, our subject matter expert for today. Dave Lupyan has spent 40 plus years working as a senior level executive, specializing in new product development and commercialization for BASF, the Pennzoil Corporation, and the Scott Fetzer Company here in Cleveland, Ohio. His education was as a chemist. However, he learned marketing and business development as he was asked to form teams to grow business units, both organically and through acquisition. Today, Dave will focus on how an executive team moves forward in deciding on an adjacency strategy to grow a business and how you can too. He will also provide some practical examples. I'm delighted to have Dave today. Dave, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Laura. Well, hello, everyone. Yeah, before we start, if you have a question midway through the presentation, just put it in chat and I will pick it up and try to answer it, spontaneously as opposed to waiting to the end, but we can do that also. So good afternoon. And as Lauren said, this is for moving into adjacent markets. And, this presentation really is geared towards those executive teams that are sitting around the conference table and saying, well, how do we grow this business? We've been at it for 20, 30 years, but, we're just not moving the needle. So what I want to do is just give you some thought starters, give you some examples, and at the end, share a personal story from my own background on how we were able to grow the Pennzoil business, specifically with a product called Rain-X that some of you may have used and know all about. Anyway, this is my background real quick. I started my career with BASF on Chagrin Boulevard. It's now called Master Builders. I moved on to Pennzoil and spent some time with Blue Coral and spent some time in nanotechnology, actually, for about 2.5 years. Then I finished my career with the Scott Fetzer Corporation and running Scott Laboratories, which was a division of Berkshire Hathaway. And I got to meet Warren Buffett as one of the highlights of working there. Anyway, so let's move on and talk about something called the Ansoff Growth Matrix. If you're a CEO and you're running a $10 million, $20 million, $30 million company, I don't want to, I want to stay away from the Fortune 500s, but I want to hit that middle market group. So if any of you are out there in the middle market, this is something that the CEO really has at his fingertips and should be thinking about every day. Where we spend all of our time is in the lower left-hand corner. It's existing products to existing customers. Pretty easy. All companies are built on that block right there. And it really is a sales function. It's fairly easy in the organization. You're hiring salesmen, you're paying them, you're giving them targets. Go out there, knock on doors, and get the product moving. Or service. Okay, so this is focused on services also. If we want to get new customers, we're going to need a marketing. And we have to take our products then and find ways to attract new customers to our product line or to our portfolio. The lower right-hand column or the lower right-hand block is where I spent the bulk of my career, trying to find new products, evaluating new ideas, trying to get something new and different into our existing customers. But if you're sitting in your seat as a CEO or as a CMO, a vice president of marketing, and you really have to move the needle in a way away from your current product line for whatever reason, you have to develop an adjacent strategy. And a strategy focused on getting new customers with new products. It's not always easy, and it can be quite difficult at times. But this Ansoff growth matrix is, something, right out of MBA 101. It is used as a platform for discussion for any type of business growth activity. So why is it difficult and risky? Because we call it the adjacency dilemma. You can't succeed in a new market unless you know it, but you don't know it until you're in it. Excuse me. So if you're midway through evaluating your potential to get into a new market, and you're at the trade shows and you're just engulfed and overwhelmed by the competition, product lines, and how they're succeeding in it, you're saying to yourself, geez, how do we get to know this market? So that's where the heavy lifting becomes very apparent in any market adjacency, trying to know the market that you're trying to succeed in. And there are ways we can talk about this in a few slides and give you some hints and tips. So let's start at the beginning. Okay, so you're a leadership team sitting around the conference table trying to decide where to go and what to do. What I like to do with mid-markets and smaller companies is use the Jim Collins Hedgehog model that he talked about in the Good to Great book that was very popular about 25 years ago. It really is a classic. And for those of you who haven't read it, it really is a good beginning understanding of, business development and, focusing my organization on moving forward. I use the 4 pillars of a stool in any business development exercise. You have your R&D, engineering, design people. You have your financial side, and I'm going to include manufacturing in the financial side for this discussion. You have your sales and distribution. Then lastly, and most importantly, you have your reputation, your brand. The other part of this is, can you recognize a market opening? Excuse me. The folks call in business development, call this the white space. That's the trends. Can you recognize competitive chaos that you can take advantage of? Or do you have an innovation? Or nowadays, with open innovation, you can look at, which is used extensively in business, is to look at startups. Is there a startup that you can potentially partner with or potentially buy? The caveat that I'd like to talk about right now is what I've learned really early on. You have to stay close to the core of what your business is. The less likely you are to succeed if you're far away from that core. I'll show you one example actually that I ran across on Monday that just blew my mind that this is actually happening to a major corporation here in the United States and the adjacency that they decided to participate in. What I refer to as, this new market that you're considering. must be accessible. If you need new skill sets within your organization, you should stop and reconsider because that requires money, that requires investment and hiring new people and really increasing your risk. So, the new market should be accessible in the sense that you kind of know something about it and you have um, the resources within your building to really take advantage of it. And I'm going to throw this out right now. These are not core competencies, by the way. I was with the president and CEO of a company last week, and I said, "Well, what's your value proposition?" And he told me that we are in business 46 years and we have the best customer service in the industry. I didn't have the heart to tell him that while it's not really a core competency, that's not really, uh, a sustainable strength. But the knowledgeable salesman, the stable senior management, on-time deliveries, et cetera, these soft issues that should be in every organization, as every morning you go in and you're thinking about these knowledgeable salesmen and the stable senior, that's something that's driving you every day. It's nice to have, but it's not going to grow the revenue or move that needle. So let's begin with a discussion on the good to great model. The Cliff Notes version of this are very simple. Jim Collins has a three circle Venn diagram here. The passion of the organization. As a management team, what are you passionate about? Do you understand how you make money? What is your economic engine? It's, he calls it the flywheel model. And lastly, from what we're passionate about, can we be best in the world at it? And if we wrap this all up into a growth strategy, we can put down some solid, tangible goals and visions for moving forward. If I happen to see Jeff Bezos's flywheel model that he penned down in the in the 90s, this is right on the website through some searching. He scribbled it down. It's all about sales. It's not about technology. It's about sales. Increasing customer visits. He wants the lowest price on more offerings. This is his flywheel. This is how he's going to make money. And this is what's going to drive revenue at Amazon. At Pennzoil, we had a flywheel model very similar to this. We were number one in the automotive aftermarket. We had to increase sales at Jiffy Lube. And we eventually turned that into, the number one oil change franchise in the country. We wanted to be global. We had strong partner-supplier relationships. And we will invest. We were a chemical company, and we had to invest in R&D. So this engine here is what what drove revenue at Pennzoil. So any growth strategy that we decided to move on had these elements as drivers. So real quick, just put them all together. We know our engine, we know our passion, we know what we know as we are best in the market at, then we create our plan. All right, so the plan, the 4 pillars of any organization can rest on these elements right here. As I said, I would include manufacturing, strong balance sheet. Do you have, strong working capital moving from month to month? Good cash flow. The technology, this is your product line. With Pennzoil, it was very evident, very easy to pinpoint. we had chemists in laboratories. The largest circle there, as you can see, is brand reputation. What is your identity? And this is probably the most significant element in leveraging uh, your company to move into another market. Because if you do, then people recognize your company as somebody who is, um, high degree of reputation, honesty, um, um, service, quality, etc. All those things that you did not think was a strength now becomes apparent um, after you introduce your company and your brand. And lastly, the distribution or sales. I'll show you some examples of how this strength can be utilized further into developing adjacent markets. So identity, brand, reputation. I only have one logo there, but I'm sure we can name 10, 15 companies easily who have taken that logo and moved it into adjacent markets. Arm & Hammer here, the Church & Dwight Company realizes that is a tremendous brand recognition element there. They've moved it into toothpaste, into kitty litter, into just about every household product that you can possibly imagine, including soap and dishwashing detergent. Um, the legacy of the brand, the image, in some smaller companies, it really is a word of mouth issue. You're the one who gets the job done, and people know it. Excuse me. I did not include the obvious here is your social media, the Yelp and the Google reviews. That is very important if you're a smaller company, especially a service. That word of mouth reputation is gold and literally, money in the bank if you can generate that. And if you have that reputation, it doesn't matter if you're a $2 billion Church & Dwight company or a $2 million HVAC company in Cleveland. You can generate that word of mouth and grow on that. Some obvious examples, right? IBM, software and consulting. These people actually started making computer mainframes, and 30 years later, 40 years later, they have consultants at your doorstep. Titleist, originally making golf balls, but that name is so strong, it can be translated to anything related to the golf industry. Like for example, you would not move Titleist into football or a sport that would not be really associated with golf or similar, and Amazon, of course. If you notice their web services business and their Prime TV business is started, the first word is Amazon. Excuse me. They didn't make up a fancy word. They didn't make up a tricky, easy word. This was the Amazon brand name. The prefix is Amazon Web Services, Amazon Web Prime TV, because of strength of that brand name. All right. Can there be a bridge too far? Marketers ask this all the time. Geez, can we move Arm & Hammer, for example, into fragrances? I don't know. I'm sure that's been talked about. Claritin, if you know Claritin, for example, the allergy medicine, they actually came out with a pillow, and they're into bedding and bed sheets. I don't talk about that as an example, but you can easily Google Claritin bed sheets and pillows and find that brand and that value proposition and story attached to that product line. This is something I saw on Monday. This was released just this month. Our friend James Dyson who I competed with at the Scott Fetzer Corporation, is, believe it or not, is launching a hair styling product. So they've gone from vacuum cleaners to shampoo. True story. Apparently they have technology. Excuse me. As they say there, new pre-style cream and post-style serum are powered by chitosan derived from oyster mushrooms. I get a trade journal in the household industry, and this was one of their leading stories for August of 2024. As some of you may know, that James Dyson likes to spend money on everything. He has there's a Dyson hand dryer. There's a Dyson fan. These are all mechanical, though. Now he's moving into chemistry and formulations and hairstyling and etc. Quite amazing. We'll see how this does. I don't believe that it's going to succeed, but again, that's Dave Lupyan speaking, and in August of 2024. Who knows? By August of 2025, this could be the #1 hairstyling product on the shelf, outselling Pantene and L'Oreal. All right, technology. I have a bunch of Cleveland logos there because these Cleveland companies are tremendous at moving the platform in a technology into new adjacent markets. This is pretty understandable. Your know-how, your technical expertise, your trade secrets, they all can be parlayed into an adjacency. The supplier relationships you have, also important. Because if you are a #1 customer of a key supplier or #2 customer, they may share with you some work, some new technology that they're working on, and use you as a marketing arm to move that technology. I've seen that done many times. Third-party licensing. Again, we talked about, can you get close to a startup through open innovation? Or do you know a university that is licensing some technology? Your employee, if you have engineers on staff, R&D folks, new and old, these are the folks who are who know the industry, who know the category, and could probably give you some good ideas. Excuse me. So I know a company here in town. This is one of my clients. Their core business was B2B, business to business, smoke and odor eliminators. So that business was stagnating for quite a while. They happened to be experts in fragrance and scent. So they moved into B2C room scenting oils and for diffusers. Nobody's buying candles anymore. Everyone seems to be buying room diffusers. Well, the platform of fragrances and scents that they are masters in could easily be tweaked to move into this category. They currently are doing about $300,000 to $400,000 a month in scenting oils for diffusers. And that took about 18 months to 2 years. So, it can be done. It's a very powerful revenue generator. And, if you do the right things at the right time and know the right angles to get into this, through Amazon or through eBay and other social media platforms, who your customers are. You do the homework up front. This can be a very powerful way to grow a business. So lastly, distribution. These are the folks out there, like the service technician fleets of Window World or some others that participate in servicing at mechanical servicing, for example. They have a deep network and knowledge in that market. They have telemarketers, warehouse locations, long-term relationships. Leaf Home Solutions, some of you may know this company, great little company in Akron. They're in, they started as leaf gutters. Now they're installing bathrooms. It's not technically difficult to do that if you just have the right people and understanding who your customers are. The people who are buying gutters are refurbishing the rest of the house also. Window World, for example, is now installing gutters because they are right next to the gutter as they install a window. So this can go on and on. Residential services are ripe for adjacencies, for moving into adjacencies with a strong technician fleet. Window installation, as I just mentioned, gutter replacement, you flip that, they can go into roofing, pressure wash cleaning. You're cleaning the concrete. You can get into installing the concrete, either through stamping, creating concrete designs, even leveling the concrete once you're cleaning it. So residential services are ripe for using their base of technicians to help grow the business. On the financial side, I know this is used a lot in certain categories. Strong balance sheets, you have a strong gross margin, you have strong working capital. A BOGO is a buy one, get one free. Your 60% gross margin item then becomes a 35% gross margin item, but you can attach that free item to your main item and have people try it. It's like sampling, value packs. You want to sample something that you think will be a successful product. One-time offers, the same thing, bundling products or services, easily done with just about anything. I have there, you buy your way in, pay to play. In quotation marks is the word dumping, because our friends to the left there, Toyota, is a famous case study in price dumping in the 1970s, where they would take their fleet, move it into this country at cost. And sometimes they lost money, but they dumped their product. It became one of the largest selling economy cars in the world, 1975, and the rest is history. Their brand is so strong, they can move into everything from automobiles, trucks, to material lift handling. As you see there, a tow motor truck there, strong brand, easily done. All right, let's execute the strategy. In doing so, you want to treat any market adjacency program or exercise just like any new product introduction. The way you introduce a new product is fairly textbook. You don't need skill sets in the organization. If you don't have that, this is easily learned. The folks at Jumpstart, Magnet, Score, there are so many organizations in town that you can partner with and show you the nuts and bolts and of how to introduce a new product that you've developed or someone else has developed. What does that mean? That means you have to do your customer discovery first. First and foremost, you have to know who your customer is and if your customer would even buy the product. And that goes for adjacency studies also. So new product introduction 101, what is it? What are they? Identify your pathway, as we talked about, the brand, the distribution, use your balance sheet, invent something. Identify your target customer. Identify your competitors and benchmark key metrics within the category. How are currently people succeeding? Why are they succeeding? Is anybody not succeeding and failing and going out of business? You want to know that. The interview process. And here you have to knock on doors, make phone calls, do anything you have to do to find the thought leaders and the customers and ask them a prepared list of questions. Why are they buying? What difficulties are they currently having? What could be improved? And of course, determine the business fit and pivot, tweak if necessary, and just continually reiterate. And when you stop getting the same answer over and over again, then you know you're on the right path. Lastly, my strategy always the soft launch and adjacency. You don't know what you don't know, as I said earlier. To know that market, you want to move slowly, surely, and if you make a mistake, you want to de-risk that with all at all possible. So here's my story. Some of you may know this brand. We had a problem. This was a $20 million, $25 million brand at retail. We sold this product to AutoZone, Advance Auto, Pep Boys, O'Reilly, and Walmart. It wasn't growing. One bottle lasted a year, 2 years. For some of you who have used this product, you understand that a little bit goes a long way. So we came out with line extensions. The line extensions, quite honestly, did not do very well. We gave them 3 years, 4 years. We kept, banging away, and that didn't move the needle. It was 10% of our rain repellent business. If our rain repellent business was a $25 million brand, this was a $2-3 million brand, or $2 or $3 million business. So, if you're Pennzoil and you're a $700 million aftermarket business, $2 million movement is not going to help the cause. So what do we do? Our situation, we analyzed it. We had full distribution to our existing customer base. So we couldn't force another bottle of glass cleaner into AutoZone if we had to. We couldn't find new customers. Our newer customers were really too small. The franchises, mom and pop franchises in Minneapolis, Des Moines, Iowa, buying one case of Brain-X, again, that wasn't going to move the needle. So, as I said, our new products, we thought we could generate new products based on our brand. We thought the brand was the mover. We thought the brand was the deciding factor. It wasn't. So we need an adjacency. What else do? We have to think about windshields, think about glass protection, think about what else can we do? So our core strengths. We're passionate about cars. We know the automotive market, both OEM and aftermarket. There's no discussion there. And we happen to have the largest oil change franchise in the country. Geez, a service technician fleet. Understanding the car as it pulls in, waiting to get its oil changed. What else can we do? So we did some customer discovery, talked to everybody, mechanics, customers, and really got a full understanding of, what are the problems associated with windshields and glass. It came down to wiper blades. The choice of wiper blades usually is driven by price and word of mouth. You go into Walmart, you don't care if it's an Anco, Trico, or Bosch. If it's $17.99 for a pair of wiper blades that you have to change before winter, you're going to buy them. Everything looks the same. Everything performs the same. Really, no product differentiation. Aha, the light bulb goes on. No product differentiation. So Rain-X, again, back to the drawing board, the whiteboard, the conference table. We have strong brand identity, and we have a technology that we know how to protect glass, and we know the importance of protecting glass in strong rainy conditions. It's a safety issue. Rain repellency, better vision in rainy conditions improves performance, improves your safety, and provides a better driving experience. So we came up with the wiper blades, the Rain-X wiper blades. Product introduction in 2002. The value proposition was simply wiper blades that enhance water repellency. So when you use these wiper blades, it's depositing a hydrophobic enhancement to the glass that you can actually see as you're driving. It kind of mimics the chemical applied Rain-X, not quite, but it's good enough to create a product differentiation, certainly between Anco and Rain-X. And that's really my story. So if there are questions, we can talk about some of your issues and move on. So thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Dave. If you have questions, you are welcome to put them in the chat. You may put them in the Q&A, or you may raise your hand and I will unmute you. So however you would prefer to ask any questions about expanding your products and services. Jeremiah, I just unmuted you.
So, I had an idea too, that because I was talking to Hepner Filters and that, and I was interested in starting making our own filters, and I was thinking about using hemp fibers and start getting into the residential for HVAC system, and that's what I was thinking about doing, making HVAC filters that we can actually clean instead of being disposable, and start selling those to like Home Depot and hardware stores and stuff like that.
Oh, so you want to compete with existing filter manufacturers?
Yes. There's so many, because I've, you go online, there's so many different brands and different styles of air filters for your furnaces. And it's like, it's an open market, because if you got a good product and like you said, you're a good salesman and get your product out there, they're going to buy it, especially if we can clean it and we offer that too.
Yeah, Jeremiah, if you want to participate in a commodity category, you would need a strong value proposition as to why somebody would buy these filters and not an existing filter. So think about that. What value proposition would differentiate you in that category?
And that would be that we also provide the cleaning of them. So we sell them and then we still also clean them, saving them, 70% of the value, or 70% of the initial price for the new one.
Sure. So So the adjacency would be moving into residential.
That'd be the easiest one for, for the manufacturing cost. It shouldn't cost too much to make an actual filter. Because
Okay.
like Hetner, that's what they do. They have all different products, like custom sized filters and that. So places like that, you can go get the hardware, or even down to we can start making our own casings for the filter, the actual frame. And then we can actually, when you get that stuff back to hemp, I was looking into it, you can actually, you know how some of them are like plastic casings and you can open them up and you can take the actual internal out and you can actually clean the hemp.
Well,
So
if you're using hemp, it sounds like that's a very sustainable material.
yes,
So that could be a value proposition. You know, a sustainable material that's biodegradable.
right. So that'd be the value of that one.
Yeah, so could be a good idea.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
Sure.
We have a question in Q&A. Robbie is asking, how would a skincare brand use this method?
Yeah, that's a great category. Skincare, you know, if you draw um, some ideas around the whole fundamental aspect of skincare, you can come up with, you know, suntan lotions and eczema creams and, you know, start breaking out your platform into specific uses and specific niches. I've seen that done quite a bit, actually, Robbie, in skincare. One of my clients actually has a um, talc substitute that she developed using various types of herbs, uh, root powders, and medicinals. Excuse me, that have been used for decades and centuries as talc substitutes that she delved into. And her product line is Naprim Products. And she's done quite well at that, niching out um, skin issues, eczema, even pets um, um, have hot spots, the vets call it, where a dog would lick its tail or its legs because it has a rash due to its diet. Excuse me. So you can really look at some niches and find a demographic there that is quite large.
Great, thank you, Dave. Robbie, if you have any follow-up questions, you can raise your hand or put it in the chat or Q&A. We'll go to Robbie and then we'll go to a couple other questions since it's a follow-up question. Robbie, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Robbie.
Hi. I just wanted to thank you for the presentation as well as the input. I didn't have a follow-up, but I wanted to verbally thank you.
Thanks, Robbie.
Absolutely.
We have a question in the chat. Greg is saying we are faced with too many product and distribution options for growth. Market data does not exist, at least not in a comprehensive and consistent form, so normal activities like quantifying market sizes are not possible. Any suggestions on prioritizing and selecting next steps?
So you have too much information. Next steps, boy. Um, um, Lauren, repeat that again if you could.
Yeah, you bet. Greg asked, we are faced with too many product and distribution options for growth. Market data does not exist, at least not in a comprehensive and consistent form, so normal activities like quantifying market sizes are not possible. Suggestions on prioritizing and selecting next steps. Greg, it might also be helpful to know what your industry or business category is. And Greg added too many options, not enough information.
Okay, so most important thing, Greg, for your business is if you have many products scattered, unfocused, Find out what your revenue drivers are and create a product portfolio around the old dogs versus stars. You know, every product portfolio has one or two products that's really paying your bills. Find out what those are. More importantly, find out why people are buying. You know, you have to create just a simple spreadsheet matrix of you in that industry versus your competition. What is your value proposition versus the value proposition of your competitors, your near-term competitors or near-peer competitors? Once you find that out, you know, you can build off that and throw away everything else. You know, you don't need if you're a $5 million business and you have $30,000 a year in a product line that takes service time and resources from your organization, you throw that out. You know, that is not moving your needle. You know, within that $5 million product portfolio are one or two products that are moving your needle. Find out what they are and find out why people are buying them. I hope that helps.
Great. Thank you, Dave. We have Jason with his hand up, and then we'll go to Heidi. Jason, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you, Dave. I appreciate you taking my question. We are putting together a software package for a niche market. We've got an MVP launch date of December 1st. Our low fidelity and high fidelity wireframing are complete. I've reached out to various sources, and the issue that we're having right now is pricing. Obviously, most of the feedback that we've got has been every new business underprices their services. We definitely don't want to overprice it, but we have no point of reference for pricing because we're a business to business solution. And because we're a cloud service provider, we haven't been able to find anywhere or anyone that can help us predict the amount of variable costs associated with the software solution that we have, because AWS offers all of their services at a flat fee.
Right.
So where would you suggest, or is there a place? I mean, I can't call my competitor and say, hey, with this customer, what's your AWS costs?
Right. Yeah, I've had this problem in B2B selling. You know, you don't know what the customer will tolerate as a price, and you want to make the largest gross margin possible. Now you're saying, Jason, you don't know your variable cost, but you know your fixed cost?
Yeah, so AWS, if you go to AWS, depending on which cloud service you choose, those are all set costs. So for instance, if you want a 0.003 of a second of latency on per 1,000 calculations, it will cost you, I think, 7 zeros and then 22 cents. So every 1,000 calculations, it's 7 zeros with 22 cents. I have no point of reference of knowing that if I have a customer with 450 users of our software application, how many hundreds of thousands of calculations are they going to incur in a month's time? I mean, and because we're a B2B operation, most of our competitors, you go to their website, which we're going to do too, but you go to their website and they say, call for a quote, because what they want to do, which is exactly what we would like to do, is to come in and learn more about your workflows so that we can create those custom alterations within the main framework of our software solution, so that it fits neatly into your workflow for your specific industry, whether it's, you know, energy or utility management or construction, etc.
Yeah. Boy, you got pretty specific there. Very technical. The issue, it really is, you don't know what your customer is willing to spend, do you?
I do to a degree because I flat out asked them. I've already went to potential customers because the solution that my business partner and I are proposing does exist in the private sector, but doesn't exist in this niche market on the or excuse me, it exists in the private sector, but it doesn't exist in this niche place on the public sector. And when I went to the first two potential clients and told them about it, they're like, oh my God, I've never heard about this. If you can actually do what you say, we'll demo it for you. So I already have two companies that are going to demo it, but I flat out asked them to their face. I'm like, what would you expect to be charged for this service? And both of them gave me pretty decent answers that align with what we're projecting other B2B businesses offer in the private sector. But because we're in the public sector, we don't know how many calculations they're going to do a day.
So in the private sector, you have a benchmark as to what the cost is. Or the price.
Not really, because nobody puts it on their website. They all want to call and give you a quote.
Yeah.
And I can't make a public records request to a B2B firm. I can make a public records request to anybody on the public side, but the niche market that we're in, nobody's heard of it.
Yeah, so you're really breaking new territory here.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you might have to play it by ear and do your best estimate and best guess. And as long as you're making money and your gross margin is high enough, you're satisfied with it, you probably have to run with that.
Right. Well, again, we haven't made anything yet because our MVP isn't available till our MVP. We're going into DevOps tomorrow. We're launching DevOps tomorrow, and we'll have our MVP available by December 1st. So to do our beta testing, and we hope to get our beta testing done within 6 months. But we're trying to, because our beta testers, the two entities that we're pursuing, they want to know what we're going to charge them eventually. It's like, you're killing me here, guys. Let me get a beta test first. Well,
Sure.
We'd still like to know what it's going to cost.
Sure. Well, you're just going to have to wing that.
That was the answer I've gotten from everybody else I talked to. I was hoping you'd be able to give me I mean, we've hammered Perplexity, Chat GPT. I mean, we're looking everywhere for this, and nobody can even remotely give us an answer.
No, this sounds like something that if I or someone else from Jumpstart or anybody else would sit with you and spend some time, then there could be some brainstorming around it. But without knowing much more, Jason, I would defer to your best judgment.
Fair enough. I'll reach out to make that appointment, and I'll yield back so that somebody else can answer, or someone else could ask a question. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Jason, have you worked at all with Jackie Williams here at Jumpstart?
No, I have not. I worked with Miranda over at Fremont, and I actually called Toledo and talked to the lady there first, and she told me I wasn't allowed. Basically, I needed to follow the chain of command and meet with Miranda first, but I would love to meet with Jackie. If you could set me up with her contact information, that would be spectacular.
Yeah, Jason, if you would put your email in the chat, I will make that introduction because this is exactly what she does.
Perfect.
Lauren, there's somebody else at Jumpstart, Bill Nemeth, who I have a high regard for in software sales. He ran a company that's selling software. He usually has poignant answers to questions and dilemmas such as this.
Bill is unfortunately no longer working with Jumpstart.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. He's enjoying retirement.
Yes.
That's okay. We have a question from Heidi that I
To
think
the
is really.
host, did you see my comment pop up by chance?
I have your email.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes,
I
of
yield back.
course. We have a great question from Heidi that I think is relevant to a lot of folks on the call. She said, to actually tackle an adjacent market, do you recommend different internal teams to focus on this? I've seen teams, both R&D and marketing, get really bogged down with splitting time between current products and new opportunities. Do you have recommendations on how to best resource this?
Yes. My teams consisted of engineers and marketers because I wanted the engineers to know what a gross margin was, and I wanted the marketers to know how the technical side of the product. But to get buy-in from senior management, excuse me, or if you are senior management and you want buy-in from the rest of the organization, it's best to have a cross-functional team of key stakeholders, whether it be marketing, sales, or engineering, manufacturing, or finance. That way, with team members involved, focused on a key goal, you have organizational buy-in, especially if this organization culturally is used to selling and are very happy with the results from your current product portfolio. Does that help?
I'm sure that's helpful. Heidi, if you have a follow-up question, do feel free to put that in the chat or the Q&A. Otherwise, last call for any final questions to pick Dave's brain while we have him. Going once, going twice. All right, wonderful. Dave, thank you so much for your time and expertise today. I think that people's heads are probably spinning with opportunity at this point. Dave, how would folks reach you if they wanted to work with you further through your services in your company?
Yeah. My email is lupyand@gmail.com. That's my private email. Or you can get to me through Jumpstart, through Lauren or anyone else at Jumpstart. And I'll be glad to talk to anyone and talk further about your ideas and your visions for your company.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. You really were beholden to your 1 hour promise, so everyone gets to be back to their days. I'm going to spend 30 seconds wrapping up. We have more webinars coming up the third Wednesday of every month, including our quarterly State of AI update on September 11th, in addition to our webinar 6 Steps to Sales Success on September 25th. You can review our webinars and other events at jumpstartinc.org/events. At the end of today's session and in a follow-up email, you will receive a brief survey. We appreciate your feedback. It allows us to continue to bring in experts like Dave to teach valuable lessons. Thank you, everybody, for swinging by. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we will see you next time. Thanks again, Dave.
Okay, thank you, Lauren.